What's going on, guys? It's Snoo603, and today I want to talk about DICE's latest post on their battle log talking about the supposed netcode. As it is exactly titled, it says addressing quote-unquote netcode in Battlefield 4. We at DICE are committed to improving the overall Battlefield 4 multiplayer experience for our players. Some issues, commonly referenced in conjunction to netcode, are preventing Battlefield 4 from performing optimally for everyone, and with this post we like to explain what we are doing to address these problems. Yada yada yada, lots of other things, get towards the bottom. What we are fixing or investigating. I am not going to quote it verbatim, but I will mention what the topics are. They discuss, you have to pay attention to the exact words they say. At the very top of this list it says what we are fixing or investigating. Those are very, very key words. So their topics in this list are rubber banding, the kill camera delay / player death sync, the tick rate, no registered damage, instant death while sprinting, various items, and network troubleshooting icons. Now, people that have been watching my videos, and you know I say that the inconsistency of the gameplay of this game has been pissing me off to no end. Everything they've listed in this is what I'm talking about when it comes to the inconsistency. It's all this bullshit that just adds up into a bigger pile of bullshit that makes the gameplay so inconsistent and that makes it very frustrating to play. Let's back it up a second and look and see what they said. What we are fixing or investigating. They put fixing first because that's what they want you to focus on. You can call me pessimistic about this, but we're going to be realistic as well. And we're going to draw on what exactly happened in Battlefield 3 to kind of go into this discussion. So, again, for the umpteenth time at this point, what we are fixing or investigating. They are not fixing it. They say they are, but they say or investigating. They could be investigating every single one of these and not fixing one of them, and that statement still holds true because they have not committed to saying that they are fixing. It's either fixing or investigating. There's a little bit of bullshit in there. For what it's worth, I am very fluent in speaking bullshit. I've worked in the corporate world for enough years now to understand what bullshit sounds like and when being fed it and when to recognize it. And right here, I recognize that we are being served the grade A plate of bullshit. And I'm going to explain why in a second, but let's just go to the number one thing that a lot of people seem to be talking about, because justifiably so, they believe that it has the greatest impact of all on the game's playability, the consistency, the whole 9 yards. We're going to talk about tick rate, and I'm going to quote this verbatim this time. Players have been asking whether the tick rate, how often the server will update the game world, in Battlefield 4 will be higher in the future. This is the key part right here, sentence number 2. Though we haven't got any immediate plans to increase the tick rate at this moment, we are exploring the possibilities of raising the tick rate on specific servers. If anyone sees that and thinks for a minute that DICE or EA thinks that they are actually serious about fixing that, you have got a screw or two loose in your head, and you, sir, are not very fluent in the speak of bullshit. Because that is exactly what this is. Look at the broad picture of what Battlefield 4 is, what this game is, and everything behind it. It's not just a game. It is a product. It is a product created by a company. And companies are in business for one thing only. They are here to make money. I know that this whole song and dance has been sung many a time, but bear with me for a moment. Think back to the issues that Battlefield 3 had and how they relate to Battlefield 4. Going back to Battlefield 3, there were plenty of issues, and minor. I'm not going to say there were major issues. There was a lot of minor tweaking things that kind of added up to this fairly decent pile of things that, in general, the community wanted to see changed or updated or nerfed or balanced or whatever you want to call it. And as we got down the line of what DLCs were left, we kept thinking, okay, maybe it'll come in the next DLC. Maybe that patch will come in the next DLC. Maybe that patch will come in that last DLC. And never got delivered. And you want to know why? It's because EA is a publicly held company. And that isn't so much a big a factor as that EA is a company. This is not some favor that your friends have put together with their collective skill to do all of their other friends a big favor. This is a company with one thing in mind. They are a business to make money. At one point during Battlefield 3's life cycle, they evaluated the ROI, the return on investment, and what could be done to make the game better. And I'm sure they saw that, there are plenty of people that still work in this company within DICE that see the game and they want it to be really good. And they took this list of recognized things that want to be changed. They said, okay, with X amount of dollars, we can make this happen. And then the head honchos, they look at it and they say, okay, well, that's a lot of effort. And effort inside of the doors of a business equals money spent. what's the return on that investment? Because any money spent by a business is considered investment. What's the return on that investment looking like at this point? Well, pretty much everyone that is playing it at this point has bought premium, so there's not going to be anyone buying DLCs at this point. The vast majority of our sales have already been made, in which case EA, a publicly held company, mind you, that is always concerned about the value of their company via their shares, what their value of the shares are, and in the end, they're always worried about what their shareholders are doing, because it all kind of ties into how the quote-unquote value of their company works. I can go on a tangent about fucking the stock market and how stupid I think that is. But at any rate, back to this. They look at it and they say, you know what? We are too far along this game's life cycle. The amount of money coming in for the amount of money we're putting out is not worth the investment. No, we're not going to do it. And that is exactly what happened with Battlefield 3. Okay, maybe not exactly in the sense of word for word, but I guarantee you that's what happened, because that's how businesses operate. They will not invest a certain amount of money if the return on that investment isn't worth it. Breaking even for a company isn't even a good bet. There has to be some sort of profit in the end to make it worth their time. So try and take that all in, try and focus, try and follow me here. I know I'm kind of running around in circles. And let's bring it all forward to Battlefield 4 and think about where we are. As of this video's posting, it is Tuesday, March 4th of 2014. We are 4 months and 1 week past the release of Battlefield 4. They have already released 2 of the 5 planned DLCs. We have China Rising and we have Second Assault. I have heard in the pipeline, and this will be tomorrow's video by the way, Naval Strike is right around the corner. Seeing as how it is not out yet, we will consider it part of the equation of potential income that is left to be made on this game. We have 3 DLCs left. We have Naval Strike and whatever the other 2 are. I know there's already names for them, but I forget them at this moment. They're going to look at it and say, okay, doing patches on consoles are expensive. So like they did with Battlefield 3, they're going to do the same thing moving forward. They're going to save all the patches for the DLCs for console, because it actually costs money to do those patches. And they're going to say, all right, what do you have ready for Naval Strike? And they're going to say, well, we have X amount of dollars of potential sales, because there are X amount of players, and Y of those have premium already, so Z is left to be for money to be made, potentially. And they're going to say, okay, you've recognized a fix for, we'll say, tick rate. We'll pick one thing specifically, tick rate. Yes, we have. Have you fixed it yet? No, because it's very time-consuming. We need a team of 20 people to make this happen. It's going to be a rather significant investment in our time. Okay, they're going to look at X, the time it's going to take to make this happen, and the amount of money it's going to take to spend it. Y, the amount of potential sales, and they'll probably have a little program or a set of equations that they can use to more accurately calculate what they expect for sales in the future DLC here. And they'll say, okay, well, that equals to Z. Well, Z is not worth it. And I really think that's going to happen. And this kind of goes back into my BF4 100-hour review. And I really hope I'm not losing you guys at this point. To wrap this all up, I know I said it was going to be as succinct as possible, but I haven't, because I'm a long-winded, loudmouth person. If you think that DICE is going to fix this game, I'm not going to say you're delusional, but I'm going to say you are optimistic to the point of near foolishness. I will not call you a fool for being optimistic, because no one in their right mind should call anyone that is optimistic a fool. Being optimistic is a very good thing. However, you need to temper that with realism. And at this point in the game's life cycle, with how many issues are still left to be fixed, and the potential cost of what it's going to take to make this game play consistently, me personally, I really honestly do not think they're going to make this happen. Battlefield 4 at this point is damn near as good as it's going to get. There are probably some things that they're going to be able to fix, maybe like the instant death while sprinting, you know, when you're running around, all of a sudden, there's that mathematical error, and you get fucking launched like 30 feet into a wall, or anything for that matter, and you get killed in action. Maybe they can fix that, but as far as the tick rate, maybe the quote-unquote netcode, where you get those bullshit things, which kind of ties in the whole tick rate and everything, I honestly don't think they're going to fix that, because the investment is not going to be worth it. The return on the investment is not going to be worth it. And to kind of wrap this all up, you're probably wondering, well, what the fuck was the point of this? One, I wanted to talk about what I think DICE is going to do, and I hope that at this point you were all able to follow along and realize that I've covered that and probably repeated myself far too many times. No, I don't think it's going to happen. I think this whole thing, this whole commentary wrapped into one point, this whole post is smoke and mirrors. They are doing it to deceive their customer base and make it seem like they are actually caring about our interests and have our best interests at heart. Which I think is a bunch of bullshit, because remember I said, I work in a big corporate company. I am rather fluent in bullshit. I deal with it every single fucking day of my life, Monday through Friday, every single day. Bullshit runs thick and fast inside of big corporate companies where they have to worry about the stockholders far more than the people that actually make those businesses run on a daily basis. EA is no different. They are a publicly held company, and they care more about what that little fucking ticking number says in the fucking stock exchange, far more than the people that make the game or the people that buy it. But alright, I'm getting off track. Let's turn around, bring it back to kind of what I was driving at towards the end. DICE makes it seem like they care. I honestly think that they may care, but the cost of actually doing something to fix the game is going to be too high, and the return on that investment is not going to be worth the money spent. I do not see a fix for any of these things coming in. This whole post is one big smoke and mirror, make it seem like we care kind of move to make it seem like the company is doing something good, and ultimately, we'll be lucky if we see even half of these things actually addressed and fixed to an acceptable state. Most important of all, I want to know what you guys think of this. If you couldn't tell, this was not exactly a scripted commentary. I've seen that comment a few times here and there where people say, "Hey Snoob, looks like you're reading off of a book." Well, for the most part I do, because I struggle to keep my train of thought and wrap up a video in a reasonable amount of time without it just being kind of forced the whole way through. And with this one, I didn't write down a single damn thing. I'm very, very passionate and energetic about this topic in particular because I feel like I can relate to it, being that I work in a very, very large corporate company, and I'll keep saying it, I am very fluent in bullshit. When I see it, I can recognize it because I see it on a daily basis. And I gotta tell you, seeing it like that, it sickens me to no end. You know, I'm not putting a blanket statement across these guys. I really do think there are a lot of good people that work at DICE that want to see this game succeed because this is their baby. They've put 2 years of their effort into this one game alone, at least. And how many years into the franchise itself? I mean, I'm sure that not everyone there that was there from the first game is still there at this point, but there's got to be at least a few holdovers. And unfortunately, there's a couple of bad apples at the top making some bad decisions. And that's just going by fact of what we've already seen up to this point. That is just proven time and time again. They are not making smart business decisions at this point. And I think this is kind of the icing on the cake of they're handing us a silver platter with a big old steaming turd on it, but they put a bunch of sprinkles and sugar on it and they're trying to call it a cookie. And they're saying, "Here guys, we're sorry." And I for one don't buy that for a fucking second. So one more time, I want to hear what you guys think on this, because my opinion is not the opinion of everyone else. My opinion is not the majority of everyone's opinions. My opinion is my opinion on my own. And most of you guys value that, and for that, I appreciate it. And some other guys think I'm a fucking moron. And I can respect that by all means. I am not the most likable person out there. And while I do try to be, there are some things that people just don't agree with, and they take exception to it. And it is what it is. Thank you guys for watching my fucking ridiculous rant video today. Hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget, leave a comment below. Let me know what you think about DICE's recent battle log post. Catch you guys in another video.